small distributions were in the field where the DCs they were collecting from the field. That was a new experience. But at the same time, in rural area, I would say it was a good experience, fantastic experience. Probably India is the only country in the world which I say, from nutrition point of view, from self-sustainability point of view, it worked very well during pandemic time because 65, rather 75% population live in rural areas. Rural area was cut off from the city supply. Therefore, they had enough supply, enough material for distribution, and there are small hamlets of villages. In each 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers or so, you'll find a group of farmers on 100 families, 200 families, 500 families, or something, which had enough potential to sustain within the rural area. They didn't buy anything from cities. That at the same time, they also didn't supply much material to the cities. So there was sustainability model within a rural area, which was experienced in a unique manner. Uh, Obviously, these are the common understanding of everyone, how they handled it. There was a lot of training, publicity on mask or distancing, and social distribution of kits for testing, vaccination, etc. These are obviously the standard protocols of the government of health department, which everywhere we also observe. In our wholesale markets, we also follow the similar kind of models which my colleague from Ranjis explained. So similar kind of models there were all around. I would also say that these small farmers now slowly showed more important role as compared to bigger farmers. Bigger farmers, they had a bigger problem because the volumes were high and they were not in a position to sell it. They were not in a position to transport. At the same time, the smaller farmers, they have little better efficiency, farm level efficiency, better returns, and better distribution because the volumes were small. And in helmets of villages, in a group of 2, 3 villages, also in a radius of say around 10 square kilometer, they were able to sell the material. And there were also crop depth. I've seen myself, I traveled inside deep in the rural areas and found a lot of small graduates and youth, unemployed youth. They also came into distribution of fruits and vegetables in rural areas, and they survived very well. And this is what how India handled it, and I believe with obviously now the new initiatives in wholesale markets, their sanitary, phytosanitary measures being properly sanitization of distancing and making separate parking lots for different fruits and vegetable markets, we are in a position to uh, handle the situation well. This is small experience of India. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yadav, for sharing with us the experiences from India. Are there any questions that are in the chat or something like that? Okay. Is he going to talk?
In my opinion, there must be some distance from MIT. MIT professor has done a lot of good work on small farmers and their impact on COVID impact on small farmers.
Yes. Okay, we'll discuss it later. Now we have the Minister of Agriculture of Ivory Coast, Your Excellence. We are very glad to have you here with us. We are very honored by your intervention, and we are all listening to you.
Okay. Merci. Merci.
Thank you, dear President. Allow me to, before starting my speech, allow me to thank the members of the World Union of the Whole Markets, and to thank Mrs. Eva Maron for the organization of this meeting and for being part of this large organization. The Ivory Coast is really proud to be a member of this organization. I would like, on behalf of our President of the Republic, to greet you and also greet you personally, and again thank Mrs. Eva Maron. The Ivory Coast will play its part in the context of wholesale markets. The Ivory Coast represents 40% of the GDP of the Economic and Monetary Union of Western Africa in the franc zone. So we're the first economic power in this region. We are the second economy within CEDAO after Nigeria. We have 100% of export of the Union of African States. We have an economic growth that is quite steady and steadily high, 7% in 2017, in 2018 7.5%, and today our inflation rate has moved from 0.8 in 2019 to 1.08 in 2020. In the agricultural sector in 2018 represented 20% of the GDP of the Ivory Coast and 40% of our exports. As you know, the year 2020 economically was marked by a slowdown in the whole world economy due to the SARS-CoV-19 pandemic. In the Ivory Coast, the agricultural sector was hit by the negative effects of this pandemic. All the food chains were negatively impacted by the pandemic, and similarly the value chain in agriculture was negatively impacted. As for the demand for seeds and fertilizers, we've had problems in importing them, and there also have been restrictions in the transport sector due to the pandemic. Coming to the land arrangement for mass production, well, we were not able to perform consistently the works are needed to improve the amount of arable land and cultivable land. We've also had problems in distribution. We also have a lack of stocking infrastructure, and there have been limitations in the transport sector that have failed to appropriately supply the markets. So we've had a negative impact all along the agricultural value chain. and also the productivity has decreased by 8% compared to the level it had in 2019, according to certain estimates, preliminary estimates. So I welcome the efforts made by our government in order to support the agricultural supply chain to counter the negative impacts of the pandemic through a special scheme during 2020. Without this special scheme, the decrease in the production would have been by 20% compared to 2019. Now, this situation calls us into question if we want to reverse the trend in the future. First of all, we have to ensure the production of seeds at national level that has to satisfy the demand. Secondly, we need to decisively move towards agricultural mechanization and therefore move to a more modern pattern of agriculture. We have to reorganize stocking and preservation of fresh food in the production areas, but we also have to better organize wholesale markets on a regional basis, because you know that about 30% of our production doesn't get to the consumers because of lack of preservation and refrigeration systems. And this is a damage for our producers. In terms of logistics and wholesale markets, I'm convinced that we have a room for improving things, and that we need a greater mobilization of the actors in our countries, and we need more solidarity amongst countries. So how can we take up these challenges? In order to mobilize local actors, I believe that we should improve the governance of the food chain by establishing organizations. The CEDEL is financially supporting the maize production chain. We should do the same with other chains in order to have a more global impact on the whole world food system. And we're happy to any offer for cooperation. Coming to solidarity amongst the countries, and the experience we've had in Ivory Coast tells us that the most appropriate way to go forward is to network the wholesale markets within our countries and among and between countries. We have at the center of our country, we have a wholesale market that so far has been very proficient in supplying foodstuff to the local markets. We have a variety of products that you can find dehydrated cereals. We have rice, maize, and a lot of other products. The impact on the supply of local markets and external markets. For this, we have set up a national strategy to build a network of markets linking different regions of Ivory Coast. Now, these wholesale markets will be all connected, and they will serve as hubs to supply local markets in the various regions with foodstuff. And we're going to benefit from a World Bank funding for the fresh food sector. And together with my colleague of the Ministry for Trade, we have decided to devote a part of the funding from the World Bank to help wholesale markets and to build new wholesale infrastructures. But this is not sufficient because we also have the possibility today to build a wholesale market in WUWM, which for us is a crucial importance, because this is a large area for Ivory Coast with over 2 million inhabitants. And if we can build that wholesale market, I think we can solve our problems in terms of supply and also for the producers and the consumers. These efforts that we're making are evidence of the fact that we are convinced that we have to increase our resilience with the construction of wholesale markets that are well distributed over our territory and the networking of them with local markets, so that and also the connecting the wholesale markets to the wholesale markets of other countries. All this, obviously, with the support of the World Union of Wholesale Markets, and we're happy to work with you in this direction, especially to build the wholesale market of WUWM with a surface of 2,800 square meters, where there will be warehouses and unloading areas of 600 square meters, and there will be other facilities, and there will be also parking for trucks. And we already have the financial conditions for pre-financing this construction. Obviously, all those who will contribute to this venture will have to work together and find together solutions together with the public and private organizations that are funding this project, because we have to create an inclusive food system that allows to recognize the value of farmers and keep and increase their income and make sure that we reduce our impact on the environment and on climate. And for that, we need to work also on training of farmers in order to improve productivity and to reduce their vulnerability to external variables and impact factors. So this is a challenge that we can take up also thanks to technological innovation. We are working with the first TLC operator in the country in order to create an exchange platform for farmers, a mobile platform for farmers. This integrated solution will allow to plan cultivations, to monitor production through some sensors, and to train farmers at a distance, thanks to the development of a specific software. This will also help plan and stabilize the crops and improve also the quality of crops and improve accessibility to consumers. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the board, I would like once again to express my thanks for the honor of inviting me, and giving me the possibility to speak at this conference and the possibility to sit in the board of your organization. We're fully committed to support you and in working with your organization. Thank you very much once again. And once again, I'd like to stress the willingness of my country to support the international work of your organization. Thank you.
Your Excellence, we have been very honored by having you here, even digitally, in our conference. We hope you have back in another conference live. We are also very happy to have with us Eva Maron. She is the first ever member of our board from Africa. We believe that we are going to have good work with her, and we are also happy that we have her. You have some important numbers, and we believe that World Union of Wholesale Markets, we believe that World Union of Wholesale Market, as well as its members, are going to assist you in developing a solid wholesale sector in your country. Thank you very much. So now we have to move on. Are there any questions from the previous session? Is there anyone who is going to be disappointed? No. I think our academics and our professionals have covered every aspect of what we have been discussing so far. It appears that there's a long-lasting discussion about how wholesale companies, how wholesale markets are a burden to modern cities, but the pandemic COVID made us see another chance, made people see that a wholesale market are enhancing the food supply chain. They created the opportunity, as professors from MIT told us, it's a wholesale market cater for every link of the food supply chain. And I think it's for the rare occasions that academic aspects coincides with the practical aspects. Professor Lanini, I would like to thank you for your intervention. Benoit, thank you for being here. We would also like to thank Dr. Yadav from India, and Drs. Martinelli and Antonini, who shared their common experience with us. I think that we can all still be in touch in order to work profitably for the sake of wholesale markets. Thank you all very much. Just 45.